Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sofia Ningsih from 2021 C class. On this occasion, I will review a discussion text. This text is a systematic literature review of 21st century skills and competences in primary education. As what I said in the beginning, this text is discussion text. Well, let's start from the social function of the discussion text. Social function of discussion text is present at least 2 points of view about an issue. For generic structure, there are issue and arguments for and against or statements of differing points of view. Let's find the issue. Where is the issue? Right, this is the issue. Issue usually at the beginning of the paragraph. There is an example of a discussion text whose contents state a problem. In this section, there is a mapping of the problem which will be discussed in the next paragraph. Right, this is introduction. Let's see the point. The current review is focused on the context of primary education and investigates the following research question. First, which proposed frameworks are most cited by authors interested in 21st century skills and competencies in primary education? Second, which of the 21st century skills are mostly emphasized and researched in the context of primary education? Next, the research method chosen for the investigation of these research questions in the systematic literature review. The particular research method is considered appropriate. Now, what is it? This is a statement and preview. What has become a statement and preview? Discussion points that support or pro with the issue being discussed. This is statement. Then where is the preview? Let's see this. This is the preview. In the section, data in the form of number, graph, or notes are usually present to support the ideas. Let's see the data. Table 1, inclusion and exclusion criteria. Type of criterion is type of publication. The criteria are journal articles, conference papers, reports, 21st century frameworks, dissertations, and book. But by the inclusion and exclusion, the journal articles is inclusion, and also conference papers, reports, 21st century frameworks, they are inclusion. And how about dissertation and books? There are exclusion. The action was conducted with the use of the ERIC and Google Scholar databases, both of which give access to comprehensive lists of education-related articles. Next, then where is the argument? Because on the other hand, the section describes views that are opposite or disagree with the supporting points. Right, this is the elaboration. Also, the research question of the current literature review refers specifically to the discussion of 21st century skills in the context of primary education. Finding publications solely focusing on this education level prove a challenge, as unfortunately a very small number of texts focus on the discussion of 21st century skills in formal primary education. Well, this is the first research question. The question is asking about most cited 21st century skills frameworks. First, we have from Engage 21st century skills 2003. There are digital age literacy, effective communication, and also inventive thinking. Second, we have from OECD 2005, using tools interactively, interacting in heterogeneous groups. Next, we have from European Parliament and Council 2006, communication in the mother tongue, communication in foreign language, mathematical competencies, and basic competencies. Next, the P21 framework for 21st century learning 2007, learning and motivation skills, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, information. Next, we have from ITC 21 as 2012, ways of thinking, tools for working and ways of working. Next, we have from UNESCO 2013, physical well-being, social and emotional skills, and literacy and communication. Next, the second research equation, the four categories of the discussed 21st century skills. First, we have personal skills, self-development and autonomy. We have social skills, communication, collaboration, and we have information and knowledge, learning and information management, and we also have digital literacy, confidence in the use of media and ICT. This is the conclusion. The discussion of 21st century skills in primary education in the current literature review attempt to go beyond the terminology used in skills frameworks cited by authors to their actual interpretation of the concept. And this is the recommendation. Findings present are mostly treated as tendencies deriving from the literature rather than as fact. It is considered essential that the topic is further investigated with the inclusion of a wider range of its interrelated dimensions. Next, significant lexicogrammatical features. Focus on generic human and non-generic human participant, use of material processes, use of relational processes, and use comparative conjunction, using modalities, and use of simple present tense and also present continuous tense. Let's go back to our topic. Then how about our country? Right. Here are the results of PISA, or Program for International Education Assessment 2019. You can try to find the location of our country on this list. Still not found? Alright, let's move to the next slide. Still haven't found it yet? It's okay, let's move to the next slide. Where it can be seen that the results of our country's PISA are indeed concerning because it still hasn't moved from the bottom of the list. Indonesia's ranking for the reading category is 75 out of 80 countries, or 6th from the bottom. And if we are compared to the 2015 test and also 2012 score of reading experience, our score right now is dropped. How could this happen? First is a lack of learning by critical thinking. In Indonesia, the education system tends to place more emphasis on memories in the material given by teachers. With this system, we are not told to ask what the basic assumptions of the material are. While critical thinking is very important to be able to make us solve new problems with the framework that has been taught in school. Then the teacher quality. The quality of teachers in Indonesia is still considered poor. There are still many teacher graduates who aren't up to standard. This happens because many teachers don't have more facilities. And geographical imbalance in the quality of education. Equity of education in Indonesia is still not good. Good teachers are in big cities, while in the village have problems regarding the lack of good teachers. Even in some areas, there aren't enough teachers and schools in those places. And the last one, lack of research quality. Research in Indonesia is still not good compared to research in other countries. In the US, the culture of research is from childhood. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, high school students are not required to conduct research. Let's focus on point number 3. Geographical imbalance in the quality of education. Based on the National Socio-Economic Survey of the Central Statistics Agency in 2020, the percentage number of illiterate people in Indonesia in 2020 reached 2,961,060 and 2.9 million Indonesians who are still illiterate, mostly in Papua. Then this becomes a big homework for our country to make education equal in Indonesia, especially in Papua. Then what is the problem of education in Papua? First is low facilities. Based on news from CNN Indonesia, head of Papua Province Education Library and Regional Archives Service, Christian Sohilite, appealed to the Indonesian House of Representatives Commission thing to help fight for Papuan education to the central government. Papua is still fighting for the most basic infrastructure. Christian said he found a teacher reporting to his office with an envelope only to ask for toilet facilities. Second, security conflict with OPM. What is OPM? OPM is Organisasi Papua Merdeka, according to Christian. The conflict between the security force and Free Papua Organization (OPM) and other communities had a major impact on security and education. He revealed that in Dunga vacancy there were 4,000 students who had been out of school for 2 years and 8 months because of this conflict. And no internet. The distance learning system can't be implemented in 64% of Papua because there is no internet. Christian said that when other regions conduct online learning during the COVID-19 pandemic, students in Papua were forced to carry out learning outside the network or offline. He said the free quota provided by the Ministry of Education and Culture was ultimately useless in the majority of Papua regions where there was no internet network. Then so what benefit can we get if these problems can be solved? First, increased interest in learning. With equal distribution of facilities, for example, universities, especially in Papua, it will certainly increase the high education participation rate so that our country can implement a learning system by using 21st century skills equally. Then, improvement of learning achievement. The success of students' learning is influenced by the existing learning facilities both at school and at home. Adequate learning facilities for the needs of the teaching and learning process will support students in achieving maximum learning achievement. And economic level will increase. With the development of education, of course, in line with the economy, as we know, that Papua has rich natural resources. Our country will even become a superpower if the human resources around those natural resources are of the same quality as the human resources in developed countries. Therefore, it is very important for the government to start paying attention to the quality of education in Papua. Well, I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.